You want to make your first $1 million without launching a brand, building a product, or spending a single dollar on ads. Good, because in this video, I'm going to show you how people with no experience are brokering $10 to $100 million and beyond in oil deals and pulling in upwards of $2 million in commissions. And before you jump off of this video, you don't need oil rigs, you don't need a warehouse, just a phone, a laptop, and the willingness to see it through. And before you think this is shady or illegal, it's not. This is 100% legal, done every single day, and something you can start today, even if you don't have experience. Let's break down exactly how this works and how you will get paid. So first of all, why oil and why now? Let me hit you with some numbers. Oil is a $2.1 trillion global market. Yes, trillion with a T. It powers planes, cars, ships, factories, agriculture, war machines, and even crypto farms. It's the lifeblood of the global economy. And yet, some of the biggest industrial countries have zero oil production, and that's where the opportunity is. Countries like Japan, India, South Korea, Bangladesh, Pakistan, massive populations, exploding energy demand, but no oil. So what do? They import it to the tune of billions every single month. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, you have countries like Iraq, Nigeria, Venezuela, and even the UAE, who are overflowing with crude oil but don't have clean, efficient access to buyers. They're stuck in what we call a bureaucracy, outdated networks, and as such, they rely on brokers to move their products fast. That's your role, and that's where you come in. You connect supply to demand, close a deal, and take a cut. This isn't selling a $2,000 a month SMMA service. These are $50 million plus deals. A 0.5% broker fee on a single transaction can net you over $250,000. And some guys, they're even taking over 2%, walking away with multi 6 to 7 figures per deal brokered. All without touching the oil, all without politics, without logistics, just deals. And so before I dive into this process, I know what you're probably thinking. This is just going to be another video with wishy-washy advice from someone who has never done this. And for those of you who don't know, I run a program called Deal Broker. 2 of our mentees who joined at the end of February followed the same process I'm about to walk you through, and they've just recently closed a $13 million oil deal, less than 60 days after beginning to work in this process. Once the deal is finalized, they'll have collected over $335,000 with no previous experience in the space. Jonas and Hampus did their homework, they put in the work, and they executed on what I'm about to show you now. So it's safe to say that this is the most current information on the topic and certainly a validated method. And without any more delays, let's get into how you can actually make this work. Your step number 1 is what we call pre-marketing. So finding the gold mine market. You're not pitching just to anyone. You go where the energy hunger is real and where domestic supply doesn't exist. In this case, you look for underserved markets where there's low broker saturation. You look for markets with a high TAM, so a high total addressable market, with a high CAGR, a high growth rate, and more importantly, with large deal sizes where you can net minimum $500,000 per deal that you're working on. Look up the oil import stats by country. It's all public information and you can access it on this website here. You'll quickly see who's desperate for barrels. Examples: India imports 101 billion in oil annually. Bangladesh over 10 billion. And that's your playground. Now layer in producing countries. Nigeria, Iraq, UAE. These guys are your sellers. They want cash fast, and you are essentially a middleman with leverage. Now on to step 2, crafting the offer. The offer is simple. You're going to charge a $25,000 to $45,000 setup fee per year so you can offset the costs of running the project. We'll get into these costs in a second. On top of that, you'll add a commission on every deal closed, typically anywhere from 0.5% to 2.5%. And this is where the real money is made and where your focus in full transparency should be. Your pitch isn't, hey guys, do you want to buy oil? It's, we help oil producers and refineries secure premium buyers in high demand markets. Millions in revenue, minimal friction on your side. You're selling access, speed, and leverage, not barrels, not supply chains. You're selling deals. Now, the third step is building your sales assets so that you don't end up looking like a joke. Before you even email someone that's running a refinery, you need a clean pitch deck, a sharp 2-minute video presentation, a clear scope of work that outlines exactly how you deliver results to your client, a 1-page landing site with credibility markers, and this is how you go from random cold email to, this looks serious. Invest in these assets. Authority closes deals, and that's a lesson that I've learned personally. Step 4, you need to validate the offer. Cold email like a sniper. This is your first taste of the real game. And here's the stack that we use. We pull leads with Apollo, ListKit, or Crunchbase. We clean them with MailChimp. We then send emails through SmartLead or Instantly. We book calls with Calendly or Zcal. And so now that you know your stack, the main KPIs that you need to be looking at once you launch are the positive reply rates. So anything over 30% means your offer resonates with the market, so people effectively want what you're selling, and the number of meetings booked. So if you're getting about 1% or higher, it means that you need to scale your client acquisition efforts fast and book as many calls as possible. And just to give you an example, this is the exact email template we use to close that $13 million deal for our clients. Hi name, we've helped oil producers and refineries, like company name, secure premium buyers in high demand markets. That's translated into 8 to 9-figure contracts with minimal upfront work. Would love to show you how we can do the same. What's the best time this week? Thanks, and insert your name. So now that you've sent out this email, the fun part comes, which is closing the deal. We use what we call a 2-call process. Forget about using these long funnels. The key to sales or successful sales process is to keep it tight. So call number 1 is what we call the discovery call. So you want to ask smart questions to qualify the prospect and to understand in the first place that you can deliver. So in this case, we ask them questions like, what's their current buyer network? How are they accessing new buyers every single month? What does their acquisition process look like? Can they deliver? Where are they looking to expand into? Where do they lack exposure? Just get to understand a bit more about the client so that you can position yourself as someone with authority that is able to help. Once you're finished with that first call, book in a second call and send a scope of work, which is essentially a proposal or an outline of how you'll deliver results with expectations, timelines, and responsibilities. Now you come to the second close. This is where you'll take their questions, you'll overcome their objections, you'll lay out the offers per the scope of work, and you'll close. No pressure, just clarity. Don't get greedy on the setup fees, stack wins, get social proof, and scale from there. And step 6, probably one of the questions that you guys are asking yourselves, is this legal? Yes. Brokering oil is legal. You're not transacting the commodity, you're connecting parties. It's almost like a lead gen service, but with bigger stakes. That said, in many countries, no license is needed. In the US, you may need a commodities license or a broker exemption. And this isn't legal advice. Always consult a lawyer in your jurisdiction. But the main point I want you guys to understand is that you're providing essentially a similar service than you would at the lead generation agency. You're just changing the vehicle through which you're doing it. Step number 7, fulfillment. How to make it rain. Once they're in, you need to focus on delivery. You run the exact same outbound system you used to close them, but now to fulfill for the service that you closed them on. The first thing is that you need to work on their pre-marketing. Clean up their decks, their offering, any kind of information that they would put forward to their prospect. Then you run lead gen using your tool stack. So those things that we went over, how to get the leads, how to do the emails, you use them all over again, but for your client. And at that point, you should start seeing calls booked. And so the focus now shifts to closing the deals. Remember, you are the growth engine. And for every deal that they close, you get a small piece of a massive pie. And with that being said, you need to see yourself as a partner and not necessarily as a service provider. Just let this sink in for a moment. If they close a $200 million deal, which you brought in, you've just made $2 million with no fulfillment stress, just upside. And now let's look at the 8th step, building a lean team. After you're already working on a few deals, it's time to become a real business owner. If you're a closer, hire an ops killer. If you're an ops person, place a trained closer. You don't need 20 interns and Slack chaos. Just a lean team of half a dozen or so people can get you to multi-7 and even 8 figures if you play it correctly. Don't add unnecessary complexity to your operations. Keep margins high and reinvest money into scaling. And just as my final remarks, I would just say that this is the new rich. Some guy out there with no brand, no camera, no ads is closing $500 million oil deals from his desk at home, probably in his underwear, and he's cashing out like a cartel boss. And that could be you. The only difference? He executed. You're still watching. And the playbook is right here. $35,000 a setup plus 1% on $100 million deals. That's all you need to get to financial freedom. You keep this up for 3 to 5 years and you've secured yourself generational wealth. Oil money without ever getting your hands dirty. And to give you a head start, I want to give you something. If you comment oil below, I'll send you a list of companies you can leverage in your initial outreach campaigns. Scraped, cleaned, and verified. As always, I'll see you at the top.